The main question here is, are we heading to 10K next? If you want to know where Bitcoin is going, where the hell are we going to go this upcoming year, then smash the likes kaput. Subscribe, hit the bell, hit everything. Just hit it. Click anything that you see in your YouTube window because, we need more people to get educated and informed about the markets. And if enough likes, maybe we might even pump to 100K next. Who knows? So, nah, just kidding. I'll be taking a look next at the macro BTC perspective, Bitcoin perspective. And of course, I've just been going through my Twitter post, right? So if you're new to this channel, if you've never seen anything what I do, or you're not familiar with trading, or if you're just a beginner, no worries. I'm going to try and structure it in such a way that the information I'll be giving you in this stream is accessible and understandable for everyone. Whether you're a beginner or extremely advanced, I will try to make sure there's going to be something in it for everybody and that everybody can follow, right? This will be an ongoing process. I'm going to have to learn as well, so stick with me, bear with me. This is just the beginning and I'm really excited. So now let's focus, calm down, dive into some quality time on the charts because we have a lot to discuss. Let's go. The first thing that I would like to show you is where it all began. For me, at least when in regards to trading Bitcoin. This is a chart that I've made in 2019. This is a chart, here you can see the arrow, start here. This is where I actually constructed this chart, where I've subdivided the entirety of the Bitcoin chart all the way from back to 2011 into sections where I'm, the halving is there and where I've basically laid out the different cycles of the market, bull and bear markets, right? So I've actually made a list because there's some stuff that I wanna point out, so I want to bring it in a structured way. So I'm just gonna go point to point to point. Now, as you can see, I've done some analysis on the past where, I've been having like bull markets, bear markets, as you can see, accumulation, expansion, reaccumulation, after which a new bull market forms. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because here I made it. And I literally, as you can see, I've made all these blocks well in advance. And it's just super crazy how extremely well respected this has been. I mean, just look at that. What do we see on the chart? The chart divided into sub-cycles, I would say, into cycles and sub-cycles, connected all with one single trend line. This is where I began, where I already recognized that we were in an accumulation zone, in an expansion zone, and not necessarily a bull market. Then a whole lot of sideways period. Then the halving came, another pretty much sideways kind of period, and the bull market began. And literally, look at where it ended. This is super crazy, really crazy, where it ended. And now we are in the red section, which, according to this chart, means that we are in a bear market. By now, I think everybody pretty much agrees that we are pretty much in a bear market. I agree myself with that as well. What's more interesting also is I'm usually not a great fan of trend lines, but would you take a look at this? The trend line constructed from after that first bull run, from that low all the way up to here, has remained relevant up till literally $66,000, which marked the beginning of the end for the most recent Bitcoin bull market. It's just really mind-blowing that a chart or a single trend line and some boxes that I've drawn over the years have been so incredibly accurate, right? So what's my point of showing this? My point of showing this is if these boxes are so accurate, and I will have to say, past success are not guaranteed successes in the future. So, this could be wrong. That's the first thing I'll say. However, up till now, it has been fairly accurate. So I trust my own analysis, and I think this is a good way to start from, right? It does not give you per se an exact bottom, or it doesn't give you an exact place to enter into a new investment strategy or something like that. However, in terms of time, this could very well mean that we might be finding a bottom, if not a temporary bottom, somewhere around the beginning of Q2 this year. Might be. Now, if this is going to be the end of this bear market, I'm not so sure about that myself yet, to be fair. I will have to see what's happening then. Which brings me to actually the second point. Let me cross this one, cover that one. Which brings me to the overall cycle that Bitcoin has been in for the last 10 years. 12 years, pretty much. Moving over to the next one. This is I need to have the Bitstamp chart. Yes, a Bitstamp chart from the Bitstamp exchange. Why? Because that simply has the most data. And I cannot see any of this. This is way I cannot see it. So I'm gonna have to put it on log scale so that I can actually make some sense of it. So now, if we would apply some theory on this, Elliott waves, for example, then you could say that we have completed one major part of the super cycle here. If we would see this as the first bull market with a first bear market to 2015, then had our third wave where we hit all-time highs, $20,000, which hit the mainstream at the time. Makes sense if you're familiar with Elliott waves. Doesn't matter if you don't understand it now. What I'm trying to say is where we might be in the entire process. That's what matters. If you are aware of Elliott waves already, then it's commonly known that the mass psychology behind the third wave stands for pretty much the time when an asset class, for example, hits the mainstream and starting to be covered in the news and such. After that, we had yet another bear market lasting longer but more sideways for the upcoming 2 years, until we had the ultimate final drop in that, the finalization of that process in 2020 when the COVID pandemic hit, and we embarked on the next bull run as well, finishing our first wave of the super cycle. Now, what does this mean? This means that this part of a fractal is completed and a new part of a fractal can come out from there, marking out the first wave completed, and theoretically a bear market would ensue. Now, it is possible with Elliott wave to predict price targets and all that. It is possible, but that's not what I'm after here. What I want to show you is that I believe that this might have been the first completion of the macro cycle, and that we're now actually in the first real bear market of crypto. Now, if this is a real bear market, then a bear market would always subdivide into 3 really big waves, called for an A, B, C, for example. Why I'm telling to all of this is to give you some perspective of what I might expect in the future. So if I were to follow this idea, it doesn't mean that I'm expecting super low prices right away. Because if this is true, if we are getting an ABC, then at some point in time, I would expect a major relief rally before we have our final continuation to the downside, right? And that gives us some perspective. That means that even though we are in a bear market, it could actually mean that we might have like literally a year-long rally, for example. It might seem as a bull market, but doesn't necessarily have to be. Regardless, if you know, then you can manage your expectations. And for example, if you decide to invest wherever you think is a good point, then manage your expectations and take profits on time, just in case this was not the end of the market, right? and one would typically expect another really big drop to the downside, rather than to just holding it and expecting, prices of like, I don't know, 300,000 or 500,000, some of the crazy price targets that some people have been screaming, Um, so that is what I typically would expect. Of course, I can be wrong. Of course, we might find a bottom maybe soon here, and of course, we might go to 300K. Of course, I mean, I can be wrong. But I will be prepared for everything because I'm doing like this in-depth analysis anyway. So even if that happens, it will not be surprising for me because I've put in the work, I've put in the time and effort to make sure that I understand what is going on and what are the possibilities, right? So the question now is really, are we close to a bottom? Yes or no? Let's work our way through the chart now next, right? Now that we have the context set up, let's work our way through the chart and base them on facts and probabilities rather than wild guesses and speculations and just shouting random price targets and then just say 2 years later, see, I was right. At least if I'm right, I can explain why I was right, and I think that makes a big difference personally for me. So let's just take a look at actually at some data that is taken from a more liquid exchange. So in this scenario, I'm going to switch to a Bybit chart. It doesn't have so much data, but it gives us a lot of data to actually work with. It's a liquid exchange, and Bitstamp is a lot less liquid, let's say. It's a great exchange, by the way. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is just a little bit more accurate and a bit more realistic. So let's work our way through, right? Hold on, I forgot one thing. One thing that I want to mention on the old chart is, do I think this is the bottom? Well, my first impression actually is at the moment, no. And the reason for that is this is based off of market structure, something that I swear by, right? There is simply based off of this move, there's just really not that much support. We have not really reached support, at least not based off of market structure, right? I'll get to that in a second. However, we do have Fibonacci confluence where we are currently seemingly holding the level. And pretty much for me, that's kind of the only confluence that I can find. A lot of people were trying to buy $20,000. That was the top of the previous bull market. We had a little bit of consolidation over here. For me, I never really thought 20K was gonna hold anyway, but that's a different story. So what I would like to do is add on a Fibonacci speed fan from all the way from the beginning to the chart, connecting that. Kind of forgot if that is to, I think I connected it to the actual all-time high, and then switching it back to the normal scale. And you can see that on the 786 Fibonacci level, look at where we are holding up right now. And you might notice I'm looking on a weekly time frame, right? So this is obviously a massive high time frame chart that we're looking at. In terms of trading, not necessarily very useful, but it gives us a technical reason and technical explanation as to why price is stalling here. And that's what we're after. Whenever price is stalling or does something that you don't fully understand, I'm always looking for an explanation. And that explanation never lies in other people screaming random stuff, pretty much, or news outlets or anything. I wanna know what are the technical reasons why we are stalling in a certain specific price point, right? And that is what I'm looking for. And this is my explanation. Now, this does not necessarily help me make an informed trading decision, but at least I have a piece of heart right now and I know why we're stalling. And that is already something, it gives me a certain sense of feeling that I understand what's going on. And that understanding, you can translate that to confidence, and that can help you actually pull the trigger and make trading decisions in the future. Right. Having that covered as well, now I want to switch over to the Bybit chart, and I want to find some more confluences. So the first one, rooted in market structure, where I'm going to mark out this is on a monthly time frame, and I'm going to mark out this level. Not going to go in depth as to how I select these levels. I just want to show you my way of reasoning to the chart, because else, you know, this is going to be a 6-hour long stream, and we have time. You know, we have time. You know, there's no rush. We can take our time, relax, sit back, and soak up all the information. Rewatch the stream as many times as you want. And you know, just make sure you fully understand all the information that I'm putting out here. You know, a monthly market structure level for me is a high time frame level of support. That's definitely not enough, but it is something. Because it's a high time frame level, for me it's already pretty significant, but not enough yet, right? So if I would be looking at that, then we can say that, okay, that might be a potential support line coming in. You know, anywhere above that, I cannot find such a level. So this is actually the first level of real high level key support that I can find on this chart, you know, making me think that, okay, we could potentially go down lower. And look at what level we got here. We got the mostly talked about $10,000 level. Now, for me, it doesn't necessarily have to be that exact, especially if we're looking on such a high time frame. I would be looking more towards a region. And I would also be looking for more technical reasons to take a look at. In order to have a bit more data, I need to scale down a little bit on the time frame. And what I'm going to do is mark out that previous consolidation area, which we have over here, right? So we have a little bit of consolidation over here. And we also had one pretty much over here, which gives us a pretty wide box, right? So this is based off of market structure of the most recent trend that came before the big drop in price. Not only that, but if we would extend that all the way to the left, we can actually see that these levels have been extremely well respected in the past. Right? Tap, 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 tap. So, quite a bit of reason for a high-term time frame price observation. It makes just so much more sense to look for a region of support coming in at these regions rather than where we are at right now. So this is just my way of thinking. But we have a third reason. And a third reason is if we would simply pull some volume levels, I'm doing that with a fixed range over this entire chart. Too bad we don't have more data, but this for me gives enough. It marks out a value area high. Let me actually put that on over here. So now we're actually having 3 levels, technical levels that originate from 3 different origins. One is based off of market structure. The other one is based off of volume. And well, actually the third one is also based off of market structure, but then more recent market structure, which is the monthly level. And funnily enough, we also have a really big white line going over here at the bottom of this region, right? So for me, this makes so much more sense for a place to actually find real support, right? Now, this is high time frame confluence, right? So for me, as it stands currently, it makes much more sense to find at least some level of support at this region before we would see any major rally, where I would not necessarily even think that that is the new bull market per se just yet, right? Because of what we just said, I would ultimately expect another leg down in price before the actual real bull market begins again, right? that's a reasoning for further downside, and that is emphasized if I'm obviously looking at very old data. This is data from 2019 all the way to 2021. This is old data, not irrelevant, but if we now also add more recent data into it, we can actually start building a case as to think why we might actually go lower, right? Which is the most current trend that, where we had the bull market, the bull cycle officially ended at November 2021, where we had a drop in price, put in a lower high, confirming bearish market structure, having a major bounce at the time. And mind you, we are still working on the weekly chart. Even on the daily chart, it's something I still consider a really, really high time frame. It's not something I necessarily use for day trading per se. But you can see that until now, we have just failed to reclaim or, put in any new high whatsoever. So just for that reason alone, it's really difficult for me to speculate right now to say that this is a bottom, right? Now, of course, it is always possible that we might just have a pump out of nowhere, right? And we just increase in price just like that, right? If that happens, and if we actually would reclaim some levels, then I might have to change my perspective. And then I might actually entertain the idea that this might have been indeed a bottom, right? But not until we have actually reclaimed something of significance. And what do I mean with significance? Well, take a look at this. We have been pretty much going sideways for 5 months, from June all the way till November, right? And then we have lost this box and we have not came back into it, right? So in the most simplistic way that I can explain this, the first thing that we really need to do is at least getting back into this box, right? Because we have been building volume and price action for over 5 months. That is significant. That means that people have been trading around this region for quite some time. That means that I pretty much expect some form of resistance anywhere within this box. Now, the next thing that you can do is use technical analysis to determine specific levels. And just straight up, I would say that this POC over here at 19,200-ish, again, a region, would be the first step to actually make me reconsider the fact that this might not be the bottom. Until then, I have absolutely no reason to believe that that this is the bottom at the moment, right? And this is probabilities. I'm prepared for that happens. I know exactly what I want to see for me to turn slightly more bullish, because even this is for me literally not even that significant where I would say like, oh, the bull market is back on. However, I would recognize this as an early sign of strength. Right? Of course, if we drop, then I need to reevaluate again, because then we're going to have much more new information. But as it stands, this is all the chart that is giving me currently, and this is what I'm reading. So for me to even have the slightest bullish bias, we first really need to get back above this level, and then I might entertain, a longer term investment on the long side. That would be my outlook. And unless this happens, I expect lower prices with a potential region of support coming in around that, anywhere, in my opinion, really anywhere between, I would say, $13,000 and literally $9,000. Very big region. But that is what I would say. That is what I would typically expect. Like I said, anything can happen. If we fall through, fair enough. I would be actually quite happy, because I can just buy more Bitcoin for lower prices. So that is Bitcoin, just Bitcoin. How long are we in the stream right now? Let me check. 41 minutes. Oh, fair enough. How are you guys holding up? Let me know in the comments. Are you following along? Is it too difficult to follow? Is it easy? Does it make any sense what I'm saying? I'm also learning to explain things in a understandable way. Lost my words here for a second. But yeah, that's what I think. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. In the meantime, I wanna go over some more global markets as well, as that gives that extra, that little bit of extra, because the truth is Bitcoin has never really been in a real bear market, at least compared to the other exchanges. So let me just take a look at, for example, the dollar, which has obviously been talked about quite a bit. For me, it's just extremely simple. It's super simple for me. Actually want to change to my main chart over here and switch to the dollar, because I do already have analysis on the dollar, and it's actually super simple analysis. I'm just gonna go hide my alerts, which I do need to clean up, by the way. But would you look at that? We have seen a line here, and we have seen the dollar over literally the entire month been struggling to pass through this level. Now, why is that, do you think? For me, super simple. Super simple. It's not rocket science to me, We have been in a major bull trend. Do I think that the bull trend on the dollar is over? No, I do not think that. Why do I think that? Well, very simple. Moving on to literally a weekly time frame. From 2015, the dollar has been going in a super sideways market, just sideways. Now, mind you, that within this sideways range, we've had two major bull runs on Bitcoin. You see, 2016 to 2018. 2016, 2018, right? End of 17. Likewise, back in 2020, 2021, Bitcoin, 2020, 2021. 2021, by the way, also 2021. Now, don't you think that's pretty crazy? So, and since then, we have just broken out, after ranging for such a long time, I simply expect major continuation on the asset. And that is exactly what we've done. We've made a full-on rotation, right? Front running that bottom of these channels, but correlating this with the overall lows. So not exactly on the line, but if you would be looking at this price section, at this section over here, you can safely say like, hey, we found support in this section at the time, which gave us the bottom of the dollar, right? Embarking on a major bull run. Now, obviously, this also coincided with global news, right? But by showing you this example, what I actually really want to get at is, you don't need the news to figure out what the dollar is doing, right? Of course, I'm not gonna lie that because of the world situation and the news, the dollar increased in price, but I prefer to find a technical reason for the increase on the dollar, which allowed me to actually, get invested in the dollar very early on, way before the crisis actually really began, And look at that, we did that. Only to have a major decline in price, backtesting that top of this range, to be much more precise, literally at this top end, which I would class as a region, giving from candle close to the wick over here. And look at that, what's happening now. Bouncing pretty hard, actually starting to reclaim some levels. Now, we're not there yet, right? I can make a strong case for the dollar to have bottomed here, but we might still range on a little bit, test it, challenge these lows a few more times maybe. I don't know, because the data is not in there yet, and it does depend on what's going to happen in the economical factor. I'm not going to deny the fact that the dollar is obviously heavily influenced, but I do have a technical explanation as to why I might think that the dollar might be forming a base on this trend line and actually might reverse and continue its run, or at least start a major relief rally before we might have lower lows. Connecting those correlations from the past to the current dollar, then you might actually say like, maybe Bitcoin is actually not done dropping. So, that being said, what else can we take a look at? I've written down that I wanted to say something about the S&P. Oh yeah, right. Again, macro analysis. Let me just put this on a week. Explaining why we had such a major bull run. Again, obviously this was helped by fundamental stuff, like stimulus checks, everybody and their grandmother suddenly investing in the stock market, which is obviously great, because I think everybody should get educated about investing, and I think everybody should invest. But you should be aware of the risks, obviously. So what happened? Let's just take a look, and I'm so surprised that I've literally seen nobody in my entire trading career. I've never ever seen anybody talking about this, like never. What have we done on the S&P 500? This is a super old chart dating back all the way to, I don't know, the beginning of the 1872. Like, if I would just analyze, like, look at this. Overall, since 1996, literally until 2013, we have literally been in a sideways range on the S&P 500. Now, you do have to realize that this is a major bear market. This was the dot-com crash. This was the housing crisis in 2008. So major recessions, or however you want to call them. But in the bigger picture, right, it's consolidation area. So what do you expect when price actually breaks out? Of course, I'm expecting a major bull run, and that is exactly what has happened, right? All the way to here. Now, obviously, at some point that must come to an end, and it does seem that now it has come to an end. So for me, I'm absolutely not surprised that the stock market has been doing so well since 2013, all the way until now, right? But for me, it's all in the charts, and it's all readable in the charts for me. Even here, we've been, again, for 2 years in a sideways range, broken out of that. Boom, major continuation. Then we had the COVID drop, like pandemic hit. Boom, what do? We backtest this old range literally to the dollar exact. And this is the S&P 500, guys. Like, this is the biggest index almost of all of the asset classes in the entire world. And we're not even having to do like technical analysis per se. We're just analyzing the structure of the charts, right? That is my methodology, and that is how I'm able to relativate these charts into a very clear and concise manner, right? So that is what I wanted to show you guys. I thought I wanted to treat you on I think this is some good information that you can use. And this is my perspective on Bitcoin, really, and overall over the global markets. I'm going to be a little bit more careful with calling bottoms and tops and everything on S&P 500 thing, because I kind of need to see what's going to happen. It's a little bit more related to global events, obviously. But as far as Bitcoin goes, I would say at the moment I'm not convinced that we are at the bottom yet. If we start to trade back above that 19,100 level, then I might slowly starting to become interested in a different bias, right? I'm not gonna just flip just like that, but I will recognize it. I will do analysis, technical analysis, and I will review again and revise and flesh out my further plans in the future. But as of now, I have absolutely no reason to do so. So for me, if I want to become bullish, I would say to the charts and to the market, like, all right, show me something then. And then, I might react.